Land Rover Discovery Sport. On June 16, 2016 in Switzerland, Land Rover Discovery Sport demonstrated its impressive towing capability by dragging 3 luxury train carriages along a railway track across the Heimishofen Bridge. The combined weight of those carriages was approximately 100 tons, or about the same as a Boeing 757 airplane. The only modification put into the small SUV was a set of stabilizing casters, a necessity because the car ran on a railway track. Powered by Jaguar Land Rover's 177 horsepower diesel engine that offered 430 Nm of torque, the Discovery undertook an effortless 10-kilometer journey while pulling a train about 58 times its own weight. In a public statement, Land Rover of course praised the Discovery's intelligent electronic systems, including tow assist, terrain response, tow hitch assist, and all-terrain progress control for the feet. In other words, the vehicle handled the engine output and braking management in semi-autonomous manner. Porsche Cayenne S. In May 2017, at the Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, an Airbus A380 glided with grace as the Porsche that dragged it out of the hangar didn't even struggle. In case you're not familiar, the A380 double-decker is the largest airplane Airbus builds and is still the world's largest passenger airliner, weighing 285 tons. The Cayenne S diesel that Porsche tasked for the stunt was powered by a bi-turbo 4.1-liter V8 that generated 385 horsepower and 850 Nm of torque. Everything was completely standard except the tow adapter. Porsche claimed that the vehicle had been driven all the way back to London after the stunt with no issues. Toyota Tundra. Instead of taking the same route as competitors in the race to towing superiority, Toyota Tundra had a different idea. It did not want to pull trains or passenger airlines, but an enormous spacecraft to a brief yet memorable journey in Los Angeles. On October 12, 2012, an unmodified Tundra was summoned to tow a 292,000-pound space shuttle over a bridge across the 405 freeway in the city. The stunt was done without too many challenges. Perhaps the most difficult part was hooking the truck to the unpowered rig where the space shuttle sat on. Once everything was ready, the Tundra just towed it away. The Tundra in question was a bone-stock four-wheel drive truck powered by a 5.7-liter V8 to generate 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. This seemingly impossible feat turned out to be a lot more technically viable than previously thought. Tesla Model X P100D. Another successful attempt at towing a massive airplane took place at a remote taxiway at Melbourne Airport in May 2018, this time by Tesla. Specifically the Model X P100D when it pulled a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner owned by Qantas Airways. With a maximum towing capacity rated at well over 5,000 pounds, this particular Model X was in fact the electric passenger vehicle with the biggest amount of torque, at least by the time it performed the stunt. According to Qantas, the airplane itself was 143 tons heavy even with minimal fuel in the tank, making it more than 57 times heavier than what the X was supposed to handle. Although the plane was not the largest to have been pulled by a production car, it was nonetheless enough to put the Tesla Model X P100D in the Guinness Book of World Records, for it had performed the heaviest tow by an electric passenger vehicle. Ford F-150 Electric. In case any of you still have any doubt about the towing supremacy of electric vehicles from Tesla's demonstration in 2018, Ford has already done more or less the same thing to prove it. On July 23, 2019, Ford released a video to showcase how an all-electric Ford F-150 prototype could haul 625 tons of weight. The automaker hooked the prototype to 10 double-decker rail cars and simply glided forward over 1,000 feet as if this was business as usual. Chief Engineer Linda Zhang took the driver's seat. Once all had been done, she asked some guys in the rail yard to load 42 F-150 trucks to the rail cars and did it again, also effortlessly. Ford made it obvious at the end of the demonstration that the prototype was towing far beyond any production truck's published capacity. Nissan Patrol. Back in August 2013, a completely stock Nissan Patrol was put to the ultimate towing test at the Sharjah International Airport in the United Arab Emirates. With the presence of the media along with airport VIPs, the standard production Patrol was tasked with pulling an Ilyushin IL-76 airplane, weighing 170 tons, over the course of 50 meters. Apart from the special hitch installed solely to function as a tow adapter, the truck had no modification at all. It used a stock 5.6-liter V8 engine that generated 560 Nm of torque. The attempt was successful without drama, and it broke the record for the heaviest aircraft ever pulled by any production vehicle, previously attributed to the Volkswagen Touareg. Land Rover Discovery. Following the footsteps of the Sport model, Land Rover Discovery finally had its turn to showcase its towing greatness in Australia in September 2017. It didn't pull an aircraft or a railway train, but a semi-truck linked to 7 trailers weighing 121 tons. According to Land Rover, in Australia, the maximum amount of trailers for such a road train was actually limited to only 4. The towing capacity of the diesel Discovery used in the stunt was 7,716 pounds, courtesy of its stock 3-liter V6 engine that generated 254 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque, or slightly lower than its petrol-fueled counterpart. That said, the SUV managed to tow the massive road train for 10 miles, reaching an eventual speed of 27 miles per hour. The load was heavier than what the Sport had towed in 2016 in Switzerland, and the distance covered was also longer. The route was much more punishing too, because the Discovery did it on the tarmac with greater rolling resistance than on a smooth rail. Volkswagen Touareg. It was November 2006 when Volkswagen Touareg made a name for itself in the history of automotive industry by towing a decommissioned commercial aircraft. Now that might not sound convincing enough until you learn that the aircraft in question was a Boeing 747 weighing 155 tons. The Touareg itself was about 7 tons in weight, including 4.3 tons in ballast, and the driver, Hugh Kregov. The only other modification put into the V10 TDI was the use of a 4.56 axle from its V8 sibling and a special tow adapter to pair the two vehicles. The engine was the exact same type mounted on the standard production car, which generated 309 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. At around 1,500 RPM, the Touareg started to drag the jumbo jet in a slow yet steady pace without any drama at all. There wasn't even any wheel spinning to see. After reaching a whopping speed of 5 miles per hour, the Touareg began to slow down and got to a full stop using the standard brakes. Mini Cooper SE. A small car, especially with Mini written on the badge, doesn't seem like the ideal vehicle for towing capacity demonstration, but you'd be wrong. In May 2019, thanks to a collaboration with Lufthansa at the Frankfurt Airport, an electric version of Mini Cooper SE made a successful attempt at pulling a Boeing 777F, an airplane with 150 tons of weight. The Mini did not tow the plane far or at high speed, but it was all enough to prove the point. An electric vehicle could deliver an impressive amount of torque from 0 RPM. Tata Hexa. Pulling a massive aircraft many times the weight of even the heaviest road-going passenger car has been a steady feature in automakers' marketing videos to show their engineering prowess. Tesla and Mini Cooper have done it, and so has a Nissan Patrol. The stunt had never been attempted by Indian car makers until Tata did it a few years back with the Hexa. Powering the crossover was a relatively small 2.2-liter diesel engine, generating up to 158 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. It was a production car with no modification except for the towing attachment. Albeit struggling at the first few seconds, the car slowly dragged the plane to a distance of more than 50 meters before coming to a full stop.